Now for some movie news, as this is some late developing stuff, but it was timed perfectly, I think. And that is, supposedly we're getting multiple John Wick spin-off projects, but I feel like that part of it was already announced, but we're getting some more concrete details, so to speak. Like, there's multiple developments here, so to speak, of the Ballerina movie starring Ana De Armas, which I'm still super excited for, now is supposedly coming out next year. And then the Continental series, which is supposed to be a prequel about the New York branch of the Continental, will be about a young Winston in the 1970s and is supposed to debut this fall, and it'll be like 3 90-minute episodes, all set in that New York area. After seeing John Wick 4, well, after seeing all the John Wicks, I want more time with Winston. I want more time with all the characters, honestly. I think it would be cool, but I don't know how you go. Obviously, you're going to have to recast him because Ian McShane is not young. But does that mean you also...
What?
Does that mean you also cast a young version of Lance Reddick? In which case,
Yeah.
you just gotta careful with that, I guess.
Little side, I think for me, when it comes to the movie, how unfortunate the first 15 minutes of that movie, what happens, that Lance ends up passing away in real life. It was like, oh, because it was so sudden. We know that they knew there was no way that they were gonna that they could have known, but it was like, oh, that's so heartbreaking that happened. Oh man. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they recast him.
Yeah, so we've got Ballerina supposed to be coming in theaters next month, next summer. Continental sometime this fall, or it might have been next year. I can't remember. But most importantly, they said that we'll be getting news about more John Wick spin-offs within the next month or so, to which they didn't specify. But looking at the previous John Wicks, and especially John Wick 4, there's a lot of routes you can go here. And I mentioned it in my my John Wick 4 review. They do such a good job with all the John Wick movies of expanding out the universe, but never Amazing Spider-Man 2ing it, of feeling like this is just here to set up a spin-off movie. Like, they've actually really taken their time with spin-offs and not just bum rushing them out. Like, we didn't immediately get spin-offs after John Wick 2. Like, we've taken our time with this Ballerina thing. We've taken our time with this Continental thing. And therefore, it feels organic. Like, I organically want to see more of the characters in John Wick 4, whether it's Caine or Akira or Akira's father. Any of those characters, if we got either backstories or further adventures of those characters, I would be super down for. Common is still somewhere out there after, was it John Wick 2, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Zero in John Wick 3? Or was it was it Adriana on the first one, or Willem Dafoe's character in the first one?
Oh yeah. There's so many characters out there. I think I can almost guarantee at least 2 spinoffs coming out of 4. And that would, I guess, spoilers a little bit.
We'll throw out the mild spoiler alerts here.
Definitely, if not a Caine solo, a Caine versus Akira.
Or Caine training Akira.
See, I don't know if she can forgive him for for him killing her father. But it would regardless be super cool, and I'm super down for it. Anything with more Donnie Yen, specifically that Donnie. Can I just nerd out for a second? Okay, because Caine like does this beautiful thing of like his style is so like somewhere in between a very like northern kung fu style and a drunken kung fu style. It's so like, and like Wing Chun in there, absolutely. And like when he was like throwing like the 20 punches to the guy's face, I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought we were gonna get when we had Donnie Yen in our film. But yeah, definitely a Caine versus or Caine training Akira, or Caine solo, Akira solo, one of the other. I'm okay with either. I actually loved Akira way more than I thought I would. But I think the one that I'd be more, as much as I love Caine, if we don't get a Solo Nobody movie, I don't know.
Oh, yes.
Dude, like that has to happen. He is one of the most interesting characters that wasn't directly tied to the Wick, like the Wick main storyline that came out of the 4. The more and more we see of him in the 4th movie, the more and more I want him. I just want to see him. Like he's such like a cowboy, but like I just loved him so much.
He's very much like a Boba Fett type of just like, I'm here for the bounty, but only if the bounty is good and worth it. I haven't seen anybody throw this idea out there yet, so I'll call dibs on it first because I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but it's an idea out there. So far, we haven't seen or met anybody actually on the high table, right? Like,
Correct.
If tonally we wanted to go for something very different than action and more of like a Godfather or like a mobster, how does one get a seat on the high table, so to speak, of like what kind of sometimes actually literally backstabbing or conniving or scheming? What is the inner workings of the high table? What does the high table actually look like? You watch, it's just a whole bunch of like old white dudes that get together at Denny's that control the world or something like that. Like Warehouse 13.
Especially after the events of John Wick 4, there's a lot of intrigue that I have now of like, there's no way that all of the families involved at the high table are all just like orphan collectors. That feels off, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but like also just like the very nature of the kind of the world that they've set up. I don't hate it. I just like you said, I think it would have to be very Godfather-esque. And I don't know if I would want that in a film kind of genre. I would almost want it just to be a show on Peacock. It would be a really cool opportunity for them to really explore more of the lore and really flesh that out some more. Because if I do have a nitpick on John Wick 4 at all, there is like a bunch of lore they just kind of dump on you throughout the film.
That's kind of always been the case, though. Yeah,
but like most of the time, it was at least the dumping was not so much that there was times when I was like, whoa, okay, I've got to track some stuff. And to my credit, maybe I should have watched a refresh or something like that. Because like the guy that John kills in the opening of the film,
I don't think we've seen him before. I thought he was replacing somebody else.
Why he's important. He was, but I meant more like why his station was important and why like killing him meant so, like killing anybody in that under the high table is a big deal. But I just wasn't sure as far as like, okay, like what is his place in this world? I don't remember, but yeah, there's I think a lot we can explore there. I really, really, really love that through Nobody, we gave John another chance to save a dog, which was very like,
brings it full circle.
Chef's kiss. Love it. But yeah, I'm excited for any spinoff they bring here, really, at this point.
I loved with the 4th one, especially the introduction of other Continentals. I think it'd be super cool about like seeing what does a manager at a different Continental deal with on a day-to-day basis. We got a little bit of that with the Osaka Continental. Not so much with the New York branch, but we've seen enough of the New York ones over the years, and we're going to get a whole show about the New York Continental. But is it like the Grand Budapest Hotel where all the hotel managers like are on each other's speed dial at any time and are always there to help out? Or do the hotel managers get along? Or do they have some own beef like a Penguin and a Two-Face situation? I think that kind of dynamic could be super interesting. The manager of the Osaka Continental, super cool, and I want more of him because honestly, he has one of my favorite lines that I've ever heard in any movie that actually caused me to just pause for a second in a theater, just dwell on it for a little bit of, what was it? Friendship means little when it's easy or something like that.
Yeah, when it's convenient,
Yeah, when it's convenient. I'm just going...
Friendship means nothing when it's convenient. I'm just like, oh, yes, let's go. Yeah, I definitely would love to see more of that. With all that being said, too, I'm curious as to if the new movie that's from the same producers, what is it, Sisu? There was some trailer in this but it's by the John Wick people.
Yeah.
Is if
that angry German movie?
Will end up, which I love that literally in their marketing they're like, do you want to see a bunch of Nazis get destroyed? You'll love this movie then. I was like, okay, sure.
A German Continental.
I'd be curious to see if that ties into the John Wick universe, or if this is literally just like, hey, we want to make another John Wick-esque movie. Let's do that. But either way, I'm super excited for whatever we get